Minnesota coming back from multiple double-digit deficits in the second half against the Lakers. Ant walked that team down, J.A. Adande. We're going to talk about J. Redick and not subbing his guys out for the second half. We're going to get to that. But I want to start, J.A. Anthony Edwards has put out Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, and now is possibly going to put out LeBron James and Luka Doncic and could face Stephen Curry in the next round. Like, this is potentially, like, really what we're talking about, taking the torch from some of these guys. He going to have all their skins on the wall. All of them.
He would have some pelts, as I call him. He'd have those pelts. It's funny. I was out at the Clippers Nuggets game 3, and James Harden at the podium talked about, he's like, man, this is my 16th playoff, and I've been around, and it really hit me. And I went up to him after. I was like, man, I felt that 16 playoffs, because I was there his first playoff series with the Thunder. Him, Russ, KD in 2009, they played the Lakers, and I would say, I think you talked about this recently too, you and Bomani. You only get one of those series where you can lose and everybody's happy, right? Mm-hmm. They're just happy to be there. And I was at this series. They lost to the Lakers in 5. It was like a last-second putback by Pau Gasol to finish them off. Not quite as dramatic as the Aaron Gordon putback, but guess what? They got a standing ovation from their fans walking off as they lost in the first round. You only get one of those. And then 2 years later, they were in the conference finals, and Dirk put him out. And Harden was just, 14 years later, he's still in admiration of that run that Dirk got on. Took out all the Hall of Famers. So the 3 future Hall of Famers on that Thunder team, Kobe and Powell. And then, of course, you get to the finals, and it took out LeBron and Dwayne Wade. And so we could look back at Anthony Edwards as having that type of run. Right? Like that Dirk 2011 run where you're just taking out Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. I asked Dirk one time, I said, do you have all those jerseys up on your wall from all the dudes you took out in 2011? He smiled. He said, no. I said, I would. If I had a run like that, I'm putting all their jerseys. I'm putting the Kobe jersey, Gasol, LeBron, Wade, all their jerseys you'd see hanging behind me on a Zoom call.
Yeah, it's J.A. I feel like this is what we ask of young superstars when we ask them to take it from the standard bearers. Like, he was very complimentary of Luka Doncic. He said, he's probably the best young player today. He said LeBron is the best player leaving the game today. And I thought that was really funny when he said
leaving the game.
He wasn't saying like leaving the game like retiring, but he like clearly saying, this guy's close to the end of the beginning. It's weird. Right? But with
to verbalize it.
But with that, it was like, he leaving the game because I'm going to put his old ass out.
Right.
Like, when I watched the fourth quarter of the game, J.A., LeBron and Luka were tired. Understandably so, because they did not miss a minute during the second half. You know who else didn't miss a minute during the second half? Anthony Edwards. He didn't rest either. And when
nobody's talked about that. This is the first I've heard that mentioned, that he did not come out in the second half.
He didn't. And they were down 10 to start the fourth quarter. And, those critical minutes to start quarters where, a 10-point lead can go down to 4, or it can go up to 16. And the total tenor of the game, like follow me on this one, Jay. We tend to think of clutch as last second or 5 minutes or less and all this other type of stuff. But if you're making shots to keep your team in it, just to keep your spirit right, to me, that's a different level of clutch that we don't talk about. And that's what Anthony Edwards did. And he had just enough energy to put out 2 Hall of Famers who were having games. Like, Luka had a game, LeBron had a game, Ant just had the game. But
also, Vinny, during crunch time, he wasn't trying to do high energy plays. He wasn't soaring and trying to dunk on people like earlier in the game. What he did, what enabled him to be successful, was read the Laker defense, see the double, and move the ball to the open man. I'm not sure he scored in the last minute or 2 minutes, right? But he was certainly...
He had the free throws with 9 seconds left after the review from LeBron.
Because he was moving the ball and having defeating the Lakers strategy, right? If they're going to get the ball out of his hands, he was recognizing that, seeing the double. And that's really the advanced level of stardom, right? Can you see the double coming? Can you escape it? Can you move the ball or make your move before the double gets there? That's where, latter career Michael Jordan was so devastating. And he was there. And the disappointing thing for the Lakers is it's not just the fatigue that got them. LeBron James standing still on an inbounds play makes a bad pass for a turnover, much like he did against the Bulls in that collapse that they had in the Bulls late in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't gone back and looked at machinations, but maybe if they win that game, they get the 2 seed and they're not dealing with Ant-Man right now. I don't know. I don't know if you play it out differently and they win that game. But 2 inexplicable errors from one of the smartest players to ever play the game. And he costs his team a regular season game and then much more crucially this game because he makes a bad, ill-advised inbounds pass.
J.A.
And also, I would say taking an ill-advised 3. If you've been on the court the entire second half at 8:40, you're down by 2, and he took that 3 when they didn't need it.
Well, to me, that's where the fatigue comes in. That's where when you make a decision to say, you know what, man, I don't got the legs to drive this down the lane, to collapse the defense and everything else. Let's talk about the minutes thing now. Because for subtext of this, y'all, Game 3 was Friday night. Game 4 was Sunday afternoon. So Luka Doncic was sick. LeBron said, I'm going for it. This is the game that we got to go for it because Luka is sick. I'm going to have to empty out the tank. And he had a great game. And they made critical mistakes down the stretch to lose Game 3, in addition to Luka not feeling well. In Game 4, they went for it even more with no substitutions. I've never seen this in the history of my life. J.A., where they didn't even start Jackson Hayes. They said, Dorian Finney-Smith, you're starting the second half, and nobody's coming out. The fact that J.J. Redick saw this game, I don't think this is what people are getting to me, J.A. He saw this game as being so critical. He looked at this and said, 2-2 is the only acceptable way for us to win this series. A 3-1 deficit is not something we can come back from. When all truthfully you have to do in a 3-1 deficit, J.A., is win one road game. At some point, you're going to have to win a game on the road in a series. He decided that Game 4 had to be the game, and he made a calculated risk, and that risk backfired on them. And because LeBron didn't have a field goal in the fourth quarter, Luka not only was tired on offense, but he was food on defense. Jay, it was blow by city on Luka. It was blow by city on LeBron. It was blow by city on Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. They got where they wanted to go. And I'm just wondering if that was a rookie mistake on J.J. Redick, who I think has had an exceptionally good season as Laker head coach in year 1.